Local markets are selling highly toxic shoes for kids. Thai protesters bring Bangkok to a standstill again. And hitch a ride to space for 250,000 bucks. In our top story tonight, the Consumer Council is warning parents to be aware of high levels of harmful chemicals found in children's plastic footwear. In some instances, the shoes could cause cancer.
More than half of the 28 samples of casual footwear, slippers and rain boots contain phthalate plasticizers in excess of the maximum level permitted in California in the United States. And 3 of the samples contain high levels of a type of cancer-causing PAH. PAH is easily absorbed by the skin and can cause skin irritations or even skin cancer in the long run. Although phthalates cannot be absorbed by the skin, its particles are easily ingested or inhaled.
Children can also ingest them indirectly because if they have touched the plastic footwear and the particles could contaminate the foot or their hands, and when they put foot or hand into their mouths, they can also absorb such chemical indirectly.
A Chinese University of Hong Kong cancer expert says children exposed to these chemicals are at a higher risk of developing serious health problems.
Children wear these type of shoes, they may stand a good chance of getting health risk because all these contains toxic chemical, in particular those are well-known carcinogenic substance. So overexposure to these toxic substances, it will increase the health risk or cancer risk.
To minimize exposure, the Consumer Council says parents should ensure their kids wear socks before putting on plastic shoes. It also suggests storing plastic shoes properly to prevent toxins in the shoes from spreading. The Council has handed over details of 16 plastic shoe models to the Customs and Excise Department for follow-up action, as 8 of them are still available on the market.
And from toxic children's shoes to toxic children's clothes, this warning comes from Greenpeace. After testing 82 children's wear samples from across the world, Greenpeace found 4 samples of high-end brands in Hong Kong contained several toxic substances. The worst of the toxins are PFC and NPE, which can affect a child's reproductive, immune and nervous systems in addition to causing cancer. Greenpeace warns that children and babies can easily absorb the chemicals by sucking on their clothes. It recommends reading labels carefully or buying second-hand clothes. Weddings are supposed to be a joyous occasion, but for some couples in Hong Kong, it's been a nightmare. The Consumer Council says complaints about those who pay to plan our weddings have more than doubled compared with the same period in 2012. Jenny Lam has this story. The chief executive will deliver his second policy address tomorrow. Leung Chun-ying plans to report on the progress of housing in Hong Kong, poverty alleviation and his future policies. Jenny Lam again. Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying is scheduled to deliver his policy address at the Legislative Council at 11 a.m. tomorrow. The speech will be broadcast live on TVB Pearl. Police are officially treating last month's fire at Continental Mansion in North Point as a case of arson. They are now searching for a man who was at the site just moments before the blaze broke out.
The fire in the morning of December 29, 2013 originated in construction materials on a back alley. The flames spread a bamboo scaffolding outside the building, which was under renovation. The fire left 25 people injured. Now, police believe there was a criminal hand behind the fire and are looking for a man in connection with it.
Initially, it was believed that construction materials here in an alley behind the building caught fire by accident. But now, police is in possession of CCTV footage which shows the suspected arsonist walking around here just before the blaze.
Police issued a wanted notice describing the man as between 40 and 50 years old, medium built, about 1.68 meters tall. He was wearing a dark jacket, beige trousers and light-colored sport shoes at the time. District Councillor Frankie Lowe says Continental Mansion residents are in shock after learning that this might have been an arson attack. They're wondering who could have a motive for doing such a thing. The fire triggered a heated discussion about safety standards at local guest houses and on whether these businesses should be allowed to continue operating in buildings like Continental Mansion. Residents have started collecting signatures for a petition demanding that the guest houses move elsewhere. The owners' corporation there has also passed a motion aimed at raising management fees for guest houses. 70 people had to be evacuated from the building when the fire raged on for around 2 hours on December 29th. Among those injured were many budget travellers staying at a guest house there.
Turning to international news, protesters trying to topple Thailand's government are moving to tighten their blockade around ministries, while major intersections in the capital, Bangkok, remain paralysed. As Thailand's political crisis drags on, there is a growing sense that any chance for a peaceful resolution to the conflict is fading. James Aiken reports. A courthouse in Greater Cairo was rocked by an explosion shortly before Egyptians were due to begin voting on a draft for their country's new constitution. The bomb exploded in a neighbourhood of Giza. The governor there called the blast a scare tactic, blaming it on groups trying to keep people away from the polling booths. No casualties were reported, but debris from the blast was scattered all over the streets. In Cairo, voters were seen lining up to vote in Egypt's constitutional referendum. Today's poll represents a key milestone in a military-backed roadmap put in place after Mohamed Morsi was ousted as president. It also paves the way for a likely presidential run by the nation's top general, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. And in sports, Cristiano Ronaldo won the second Ballon d'Or of his career after he was crowned FIFA's World Player of the Year. Here's Tony Sabine with a wrap of all the football action. And space rides for regular folks are a step closer to reality. Regular folks with $250,000 to spend, that is. Virgin Galactic's Spaceship 2 has carried out its third rocket-powered test flight. It soared to 21,640 meters above the ground and managed to reach 1.4 times the speed of sound. Virgin Galactic is a US offshoot of billionaire Richard Branson's Virgin Group. So far, more than 650 people have put down deposits. Branson and his children are expected to fly on the first passenger flight this year. And tonight's winning Mark 6 numbers are 9, 11, 27, 31, 33, 34, and the extra number is 21. On to the weather. Brace yourselves for colder conditions. We should expect the temperature to be about 11 degrees tomorrow morning, but it should taper off to 16 degrees by the afternoon. That's all from our newsroom. Thank you for watching. Good night.